Hello friends, in this video tutorial, we will learn how to integrate Chart.js library with jQuery DataTable plugins. For display dynamic data table data in the form of graph on the web page. So when we have to change jQuery DataTable data, then graph data must be changed. So in this part, we will display dynamic data of data tables on the chart by using Chart.js library with PHP script and MySQL database. And for real-time dynamic data, here we will use Ajax server-side processing of data. So if you want to learn how to use Chart.js library with jQuery DataTable, then this tutorial will help you to learn how to make dynamic chart by data render from DataTable and display on the chart by using Chart.js library with jQuery DataTable using Ajax. In this part, we will first show you MySQL table structure details. After this, we will create simple HTML table, which we will use for jQuery DataTable. And then after, we will write jQuery code for initialize data table and send Ajax request for fetch data from server. Next, we will write PHP script for fetch data from server and send back data to Ajax request in JSON format. So after this, we will check output of loading data in the jQuery data table in the browser. Next, we will write JavaScript code for render data table data for create chart using Chart.js library. And after this, we will check output in the browser. And one more things, we have also put source code link under this video description. Now let's start discussing this topic. So this is our testing database. And under this, we have one test order table with 8 table column like order it, order number, order quantity, price per unit, order total, order date, order status, and product name. And under this table, we have already inserted last 3 years data under this table. So first we will fetch data from this table and display day-wise sales data in the jQuery data table, and after this, we will display that order data in chart form on the web page by using Chart.js library. Now first, we want to load test order table data in the jQuery data table. So we have go to our working directory. Here we have to open index.php file. And under this file, we have already included Bootstrap 5 library, DataTables library, Chart.js library file linked. So this file, we will use under this tutorial. Now we have moved to write HTML code part, and here, we have to create HTML table. So here we have to write HTML table tag with class is equal to table stripe, table bordered, and id attribute is equal to order table. Under this table, we have to create one open and close table head tag. And under this tag, we have to create one table row tag. And under this tag, we have to create 3 table column tag with text like order number, order value, and order date. After this, we have create table body tag. So this all tag is required for convert HTML table to data table. Now we have moved to write jQuery code, and here we have to create one function with name like fetch data. So this function will convert simple HTML table to data table and load data in that data table with server-side processing of data using Ajax. So under this function, here we have to write data table variable is equal to dollar with table id order table with data table method. So this method will initialize jQuery DataTable plugin. Under this method, first we have to write first option processing, which has been set to true. So this option will enable the display of a processing indicator when the table is being processed. In second option, we have write server side, which has been set to true. So this option will switch client side processing to server side processing. In third option, we have to write order option, which has been set to blank array. So this option will enable the table column ordering. Lastly, we have to write Ajax option, and by using this option, It will send Ajax request to server, and under this first, we have to write first option URL, which is set to action.php. So here it will send Ajax request to this action.php file. In Ajax second option, we have to write type, which has been set to post method. So here, it will have to use post method for send data to the server. With this Ajax request, we want to send some data to server, so here we have to write data option, and here we have to send action variable with fetch value as data sent to server. So here our jQuery code is ready for initialize data table with send Ajax request to server. So now, we have move action.php file for write PHP script for fetch data from test order table. So here first, we want to make database connection, so for this, we have to write $connect variable is equal to new PDO class with 3 argument. In first argument, we have to write MySQL host is equal to localhost, and database name set to testing. In second argument, we have to write username set to root, and in third argument, we have to write password, which is set to blank. This code will make database connection. Now below this, we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write is set function with $post action variable, so if this condition true, then it will execute if block of code, and under this block, again we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write $action variable value is equal to fetch. If this condition true, then it will execute this if block of code, and under this block, we have to write $order column variable is equal to table column like order number, order table, and order date table column name in an array variable. Now for store select query, here we have to write $main query variable is equal to select order number, some function with order total as order total, and order date table column from the test order table. So in this variable, we have store simple select query. Now for store where condition query, here we have to define $search query variable. And after this, we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write is set function with $post search value variable. If this condition true, then it will execute if block of code. And under this block, we have to write $search query variable, and here we have to append query like open and close bracket, and between this, we have to paste this query, so this query will search data in table. After this, we have to write $group by query variable is equal to query like group by order table, so in this variable, we have to store group by query. Now for store order by query, here we have to create $order query variable. So below this variable, we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write is set function with $post order variable, so this condition will be true. Then it will execute this if block of code, and under this block, we have to write $order query variable is equal to this query, but suppose here above condition false. Then it will execute else block of code, and under this block, we have to write $order query variable is equal to order by order date in descending order. So here we have stored order by query, under this order query variable. Now for store limit query details, here we have to create $limit query variable is equal to blank value. And below this, we have to write if statement, and under condition, we have to write $post length variable value is not equal to -1. If this condition true, then it will execute if block of code. And under this block, we have to write $limit query variable is equal to limit statement with $start variable, $post length variable. So here, we have store complete query for fetch data from order table under different variable. So we can execute query as per our required. So first we want to get total number of filtered rows data. So here, we have to write $statement variable is equal to $connect variable with prepare method, and under this, we have to write $main query variable, $search query variable, $group by query variable, and $order query variable. So here we have merged this query, and this method will make query for execution. Next we want to execute above query, so here we have to write $statement variable with execute method. After execute query, here we have to write $filtered rows variable is equal to $statement variable with row count method, so this method will return total number of affected rows. Next we want to get total number of rows data, so here again, we have to write $statement variable is equal to $connect variable with prepare method. And under this method, we have to write $main query variable and $group by query variable. So this method will prepare query for execution process. Now we want to execute above query, so here we have to write $statement variable with execute method. And below this, we have to write $total rows variable is equal to $statement variable with row count method, so this method will return number of affect rows, which is total number of rows data. So after getting total number of filtered rows, and total number of rows data, now we want to order fetch data. So here we have to write $result variable is equal to $connect variable with query method. And under this method, we have to write $main query variable, $search query variable, $group by query variable, $order query variable, $limit query variable. So here we have combined all query. And this method will execute above query, and return query execution result in an array format, which is stored under this $result variable. Now here we have create one $data variable is equal to an array. Under this variable, we will store order table data. Now for fetch data from this $result variable, here we have to write for each loop. And under condition, we have to write $result variable is $row variable. Under this loop, we have to create one $subarray variable is equal to an array. Now first we want to store order number table column data, so here we have to write $subarray variable is equal to $row order number table column name. After this, for stored order total column data, so here we have to write $subarray variable is equal to $row order total table column name. Next, for stored order date table column data, so here we have to write $subarray variable is equal to $row order date table column name. So here, we have stored order table data under this $subarray variable. Now we want to store under $data variable, so here we have to write $data array variable is equal to $subarray variable, so on every loop, it will store data under this $data variable. Now here, we have to write $output variable is equal to an array. And under this array, first key we have to write draw, and in value, we have to write $post draw variable. In second key, we have write records total, and in value we have to write $total rows variable. In third key, we have to write records filtered, and in value, we have to write $rows variable. And in last key, we have to write data, and in value, we have to write $data variable. So this way, we have to store all required data, for make data table in the $output variable. Now we want to send this data to Ajax request in JSON format, so we have to write echo statement with JSON encode function, and in this function, we have to write $output variable. So this function will convert data into JSON string. So here our code is ready for load data in the jQuery DataTable plugin with server-side processing by using Ajax. So now we have to check an output in the browser. Friends, here we can see that when the page has been loaded in the browser, Then we can see that order table data has been loaded into jQuery DataTable plugin. And here, we can perform live searching of MySQL order table data. And here also, we can see that pagination link is automatic made without write any line of code. And here, we can also perform table column sorting of data. So this is all feature of jQuery DataTable plugin. Now we want to integrate chart.js library within this jQuery DataTable. And display jQuery DataTable data in the form of bar chart using chart.js library. So for this, we have go to index.php file, and under this file, we have go to HTML code part. And here, we have to create one division tag with class is equal to chart container and pie chart. And under this tag, we have to create one canvas tag with it is equal to bar chart. So under this tag, we will make bar chart by using chart.js library with data rendered from this DataTable method. After this, we have go to jQuery code part, and here we have go to fetch data function, and under this function, we have go to DataTable method, and under this, we have to write draw callback option with callback function. With settings as argument, so this function will be called every time when DataTables performs a draw process. And here, this DataTable method has already received data from server, so we will be use that data for make dynamic chart. Under this function, for store sale data, here we have to create sale date variable is equal to an array. And for store sale data, here we have to create one sale variable is equal to an array. Below this, here we have to write for loop, and under condition, we have to write count variable value is equal to 0. Count variable value is less than the value of settings.ao data.length, and count variable value is increment by 1. Here from settings.ao data variable, it will fetch data, which has been loaded under this data table. Under this loop, we have to write sales data variable.push method, and under this method, we have to write settings.ao data with count index._a data with 2 index. So it will fetch sale date data and store under the sale data variable in an array format. After this, we have to write sale variable.push method, and under this method, we have to write pass float method, and under this, we have to write settings.ao data with count index ._a data with 1 index, so it will fetch sales value data and store under sale variable in an array format. So on every loop, it will store data under this both variable in an array format. Below this, we have to create one chart data variable, and this variable will be used for display data on the chart. Under this variable, we have to write labels key, and in the value, we have to write sales data variable. So it will display sale date data at below of each bar, and after this, below here, we have to create one data sets variable. And under this, we have to first write label key, and in the value, we have to write sales text. So this text will be displayed at the header of the chart. For set background color of chart or graph, so here we have to write background color key. And in the value, we have to write this color. Same way for set font color, here we have to write color key, and in the value, we have to write white. And for display data on the chart, so here we have to write data key, and in the value, we have to write sale array variable. Now for create bar chart, first we have to store destination of bar chart in the variable. So here we have to write graph chart3 variable is equal to $ with canvas tagged bar chart. Next for draw bar chart, here we have to write sale chart variable is equal to new chart class with 2 argument. In the first argument, we have to write graph chart3 variable. And in the second argument, we have to write an array, and in an array first key, we have to write chart type, which has been set to bar. And in second key, we have to write data, and in the value, we have to write chart data variable. So this option will load, and this variable data load, on the dynamic bar chart. So here our code is ready, so when page has been loaded, then it will display jQuery data table on the chart, so now we have to check output in the browser. Friends, here first we have to refresh web page, and after refresh of the web page, here we can see that bar chart has been appeared above the data table, and in the chart we can see data table data. When we have go on to second page, then in data table, it has displayed second page data. And at the same time, here we can see that second page data table data has been rendered on the bar chart. Without refresh of the web page, now we want to display more data on the single data table page. So here we have to select 25 number, so after selecting 25 number, here in data table, it has displayed 25 number data on single page, and here in at the bar chart, we can see that total 25 bars has been displayed, which it has been render, data table data, and display on the bar chart. So here, when data table data has been changed, then bar chart has been created with updated data. When we have to sort data, so after sorting of data, here we can see that bar chart data has been also arranged. So in this part, we have to learn how to integrate chart.js library under this jQuery data table library. In next part, we will add date range filter with this jQuery data table and chart.js library. So by using date range picker, we will add advanced date range filter under this data table and chart.js application.